Okay, guys, I was tagged in a video from Falagar517, and what Sam did was he named some indelible, memorable, quirky characters from movies. I'm sticking with American-made movies or Hollywood-made movies, as opposed to foreign language and things like that. I'm staying away from most of those. I certainly would agree with some of his choices, but I've got my own here to add, and I'll start with some obvious ones, I guess, and then get to maybe some that are less obvious. First up, let me clean this up a little bit here. The first one up is going to be, I think, a pretty obvious choice, and that is Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. Very memorable for me. And, you know, somewhat believable that he was a young man, you know, in high school and college playing football. I think he did a nice job there. Did a nice job of playing a simple man with a, who ends up having, you know, some impact. It reminds me a little bit of a Peter Sellers movie called Being There. If you ever saw Being There, that's a good movie. Peter Sellers plays a simpleton who ends up advising the President of the United States because his simple ways are mistaken. Now, in this one, I don't think anybody mistakes Forrest Gump for a genius. But he finds a way to make money and finds a way to be successful. And it's a memorable role. So I think a very indelible character, quirky character, but certainly an indelible one. I skipped over... because it was so similar to this in my own mind, but not really. But I would say Dustin Hoffman's character in Rain Man was very memorable as well. You know, Raymond. And but I'm going to skip that one. I'm also skipping Star Wars characters. Certainly Darth Vader is an indelible character, as is Han Solo. Yoda, though that's really not a, you know, it's like picking you know, Gollum from the Lord of the Rings. Not, it's an animated character, but I stayed away from there. But I did go to another one that's pretty obvious, I guess, and that is from the trilogy from Francis Ford Coppola, The Godfather. I'm going to go with Marlon Brando's portrayal of Vito Corleone from the first, and in my mind, best. I know that some people think The Godfather 2 is as good. I say no, for the simple reason that it doesn't have Marlon Brando. That is a huge, huge thing, and I do think Robert De Niro is good in it. Al Pacino's wonderful throughout, but for my money, it's Vito Corleone, played by Marlon Brando, who's the indelible character and the most typical Italian Don. When you think of a mafia Don, you probably think of somebody like Vito Corleone, and that character's been satirized and so on for a long time. Another obvious choice, perhaps. I'm not sure, you know, this is not a deep character by any means, but certainly a quirky one. He starts out as a isolated Vietnam vet who's in the woods and you know, they're trying to get him out basically, and he's got all these techniques and so on. Then he ends up being kind of a hitman for the government to rescue people. Really hitman to kind of to go in and get people out of tough spots, and that's John Rambo, played by Sylvester Stallone. Could have chose Rocky, but Rambo to me is the more subtle choice. Rocky's more obvious. Rambo is a little less so, but very indelible character. I didn't choose James Bond. I would have chosen Sean Connery as James Bond, but I didn't pick him. But I certainly can mention him. Next up. A character that has no name. Clint Eastwood. In The Man with No Name trilogy, Fistful of Dollars for a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, which is, for my money, the best of the three. But very good spaghetti westerns, classic soundtracks to go along with this. You know, the musical score was excellent, and just a really good character. Gritty, determined. The Man with No Name from the Man with No Name trilogy. All right. Next, I'm kind of watching my time here. One of my favorite movies of all time. I've had it in the digibook, which I gave away. Now I have it in the steelbook. Just a wonderful, wonderful movie based upon a Stephen King short story. And you could really go for either one of the characters here. But I'm going to go ahead and pick Andy Dufresne from the Shawshank Redemption. And there's Andy's Taste of Freedom there. Tim Robbins plays a wonderful character. I mean, this guy is quirky. He is determined. He is resilient. He is clever. He is sneaky. He is visionary. Imaginary. Well, not imaginary. He's got a great imagination. He's certainly real. He's just a great character. If you've never seen Shawshank Redemption, you need to see this movie. Based on a short story called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. Shawshank is a prison. Andy Dufresne is in prison, allegedly for killing his wife, I think, or his wife and her lover, something like that. He pleads his innocence. Who knows if he's innocent or not? I don't know if they ever really come out and for sure say one way or the other. But you get the feeling he might be. Then again, he might not be. It's hard to say. The other character here is Red, played by Morgan Freeman, who narrates it, who's also a really good character. But I'm going to go with Andy Dufresne. I got a couple characters in this one. I'm going to talk about both here. Wonderful movie, one of my favorites. I waited for a long time to get a passable version of this because for years it was out on VHS and was not good. And I think the DVD was not good either. Just really a poor transfer, just a bad look. This is a wonderful look and a great movie. Academy Award winner as well. Winner of Best Picture in 1984. I'm talking about Amadeus. The fictional, but based in reality, story of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Wonderful music, and the character I'm going to pick. Well, you can pick either one. Tom Hulce plays Mozart to perfection. He's wacky. He's all over the board. Yet when he sits down to play the piano, or he writes his music, he's as passionate as you want to be. And the other character is Salieri, played by F. Murray Abraham, in the back here, who is envious of the talent that was given to this young man, and just jealous throughout the movie. And he just plays a great seething jealousy throughout. It kills him to praise Mozart for anything, yet he knows, because he knows music well, that Mozart his talent is far above Salieri's. Just not even close. And that kind of burns him, I think. Next up, a few obvious ones, again, but to me they're all obvious. If it's an indelible character, somebody I remember well, somebody who's quirky or unusual in some fashion, or just that strong of a character that my mind associates, that actor with that character so strongly. And in this case, not only the actor, but the director with this character, because they're one and the same. And I'm talking about what I think is the greatest movie ever made for many, many reasons. And I know I'm on a bandwagon with it, but it is what it is. I'm talking about Orson Welles in Citizen Kane, also directed Citizen Kane. This is the digibook. I also own a large version. You can't really see it, but I also own this version here. But either way, whatever version you've got, hopefully you've got Citizen Kane in your library. You really should. Wonderful portrayal of a really likable character in the beginning, full of energy and enthusiasm and youth and ideas and wanting to do the right thing and be the right person. And slowly, over time, he turns into this really evil presence, and he just changes throughout the film to the point where he's not likable, and yet somehow at the end of the film he is again. Great portrayal, great character, great movie, great direction. Orson Welles' masterpiece, Citizen Kane. And the character is Charles Kane. So, it brings me to a couple more. This one, classic novel, probably my favorite novel of all time. This is the 50th anniversary edition. There's a couple other versions that are out, but I like this one, I think, the best for a number of reasons. Really like this movie. Really like the character of Atticus Finch. And I'm talking about Gregory Peck as Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. Small town lawyer dealing with a murder that's taken place of a young girl. I'm sorry, not the murder. I had it confused momentarily with another movie. This is concerning the rape of a young girl, allegedly by a black man. And Atticus Finch is going to defend the black man for a couple of reasons. One, he thinks he's innocent. And two, he's owed a defense. And the small town that he's in isn't going to take very kindly to a black man allegedly raping a white girl. So that is the story of To Kill a Mockingbird. I had it confused for a second with The Green Mile. I don't know why. There's nothing alike, but nonetheless. And finally, just a wonderful, wonderful portrayal. Classic movie. This character is just so indelible, and I had all men on all these, but in some ways, this woman's portrayal maybe tops them all. As far as a memorable, quotable genius of a portrayal, really, and so close to her real life that it was almost inseparable at the time when this movie came out. People thought it was about her, but it wasn't. And I'm talking about Gloria Swanson's portrayal in Sunset Boulevard of Norma Desmond. Norma Desmond, a former silent film star, and when talking movies came out, like a lot of stars, she faded away. And now she's a recluse who's kind of feeling like perhaps she can make a comeback. And she's got this script that she's written, and William Holden, who co-stars in it, is a writer who happens to stumble upon her as he's on his escape from some bill collectors. Ostensibly moves in with her and gets to experience the weirdness of her. But some great lines in this, like when he says to her, Norma Desmond, I know that name. You were big. And she says, I still am big. It's the pictures that got small. Beautiful. And of course, the famous scene at the very end where she says, "All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up." Totally oblivious to what's going on at that point, and probably stark raving mad, or certainly on her way to that. Interesting cast. Eric von Stroheim is also in this, or Stroheim, I should say, who I think he is the director. He was a silent film director as well, and I think I'm trying to remember what he directed. I may put it down below, or maybe to make another video about it, since I'm stuck on it for a moment. But he did direct a legendary silent film, and he plays the butler in this. But the portrayal that's the one that you're going to remember is Norma Desmond, played by Gloria Swanson, who was quite a looker in her day, by the way. Can't really tell here, but at one point she was quite the looker. All right. Anyway, that's it, guys. I think a pretty good mix. A couple obvious ones, like maybe Citizen Kane and the Vito Corleone. Try to stay away from too many obvious ones, and pick some movies that maybe you haven't seen, or you're not quite as familiar with. If you are, you are. But my hope is that always that it'll spark you to comment, or to go out and watch the movie. Go out and watch Sunset Boulevard or To Kill a Mockingbird. These are great movies. And that's it. Talk to you guys soon.